What's up, Wisconsin DECA, and welcome back to another episode of the Competitive Excellence series. Today, we will be discussing how to put together a standout project presentation. My name is William Valinati. I am a junior from Waunakee High School, and currently I'm the president of Waunakee DECA. Last year at State, I competed in finance operations research and found great success. My judge told me what helped me stand out apart from my competitors was a great visual and a strong script. So today, I would like to talk to you about how to take your project to the next level. First, to help set your project apart from your competitors, you will want to make sure that your presentation visual looks professional. There are many ways to make a professional project, but one of the core parts of this is to make sure that you have a color scheme. When putting together a color scheme, you want to make sure it makes sense. Normally, you won't want to put together mismatched colors unless there's a reason for it. One great way to put together a color scheme is by basing it off of the company you're working on. For example, if you did a project on Coca-Cola, you may want to put together a presentation that uses the color scheme of red and gray. One great example of a color scheme on a project comes from Eleanor Stoa and Josh Helgeson from Green Bay Pebble. As you can see in their project, they do a great job of using muted whites and grays to help their green and blue pop in the presentation. Another great way to make your presentation professional is to make it readable. To make your presentation readable, you have to make two key decisions: size and font of your text. When choosing the size of your text, you want to make sure that your judge will be able to read it from where they are sitting. To make sure that they're able to read it, one test you can do is to print out a sentence on a piece of printer paper in the desired size of text that you're looking at, and then take 5 steps away from the piece of paper and see if you can read it. If you can read it, you're good to go. If you can't, you will need to go back and increase the size of the text and try again. Next, when looking at the font of it, you need to make sure that it is readable. Normally, I recommend staying away from some of the cursive fonts as they normally can end up being hard to read the farther you get away from them. For me personally, I recommend using Canva when trying to find some good fonts. For both my freshman and sophomore year, I used Canva to help me find good fonts as it had an easy-to-use interface, a variety of fonts, and it allowed me to import pictures in an easier way. One group that does an incredible job of using fonts and size to their advantage is Rashmi Majigapu and Arushi Ranasaria from Sussex Hamilton High School. As you can see, they do an excellent job of making sure that their judge will be able to read their project from where they are sitting. Furthermore, they used fonts that helped it pop on their presentation. Now that we've gone over how to put together a professional presentation, I'd like to talk about how to create an engaging speaking script. First, I'd highly recommend memorizing your script. By memorizing your speech, it allows you to make more eye contact with your judge. One comment our judge made was that he loved the amount of eye contact we made during the presentation, as many other groups were looking at flashcards most of the time. If you choose to memorize your speech, make sure to get together with your project partners if you have them, and run through it multiple times until you can consistently get through it without making any memorization errors. Small mistakes are fine, but you want to make sure you won't forget part of your presentation during the competition itself. If you choose to use flashcards, make sure there are parts where you can look up from the flashcards and make eye contact with your judge. Lastly, if you choose to memorize your speech, make sure that you start preparing at least a month in advance so you have adequate time to prepare. If you have a project partner, it is crucial that you keep changing speaking roles throughout your presentation to keep your judge intrigued. In my project last year, my partner Olivia Lemansky and I changed speakers multiple times during our introduction. As our presentation progressed, we continuously changed speakers every paragraph. Each paragraph lasted roughly 45 seconds to a minute and a half. Studies show that people will be more intrigued in a speech when the speaker changes, as it feels less monotonous. Another thing Olivia and I did during our presentation was we had the other speaker jump in whenever there was a semicolon. For example, during our presentation, when I said, We separated these research methods into two distinct groups. Olivia jumped in and stated, primary and secondary research. Doing something like this can be tough at the beginning, as you have to get the timing down so it doesn't feel rushed. However, it will truly pay off in the long run, as when you master this, it will set you apart from your competitors. Lastly, I would like to go over how to make your presentation really pop. One way you can make your presentation stand out is by adding a piece of technology to it. By adding a piece of technology to your visual, it gives your judge something to follow along with while you are speaking. Here is an example of my project from last year that had a piece of technology on it. As you can see, we added an iPad to the middle of our visual that had a slideshow on it. In Olivia's hand, she had a clicker that moved through the slideshow as we were presenting. On our slideshow, we had some of our key metrics along with transitions to help us move forward to the next parts. By adding a slideshow to your presentation along with a piece of technology, it can really enhance your presentation as it gives your judge something to follow along with. All in all, technology is a great way to enhance your project when used correctly. I hope you all have taken something away from today's competitive excellence video. Some key takeaways are to create a professional presentation through the use of color schemes and readable text. Furthermore, to create an engaging speaking script, you should try to memorize your speech and jump between partners if you have them all speaking. And lastly, you should try to utilize technology if you believe it can truly enhance your presentation. If you have any questions for me, feel free to reach out. My Instagram handle is @WilliamValinati, and my email is william@valinati.com. I wish you all the best of luck in your future presentation endeavors.